Hey, Lot Radio people. This is Russell E.L. Butler here for Deep Exposure. Today we have a special guest, my dear friend Nihar, all the way from San Francisco. Nihar Bhatt and I used to do a party together called Intersection. We initially met at least 12 or 13 years ago through our mutual friends, Holly Herndon and Matt Dryhurst. And we're kindred spirits. You'll hear more from them a bit later, but for the first hour I want to do a bit of a kind of Bay Area vibe retrospective. Take you back to the 2010 through 2015 era. Which also shout out to Josh Cheum. This is going to be a bit of a Dark Entries retrospective in a sense for the first hour. And then Nihar and I will have a chat at 5 and they'll do a little mix for y'all. big shout out to Charlize. Couple of big San Francisco classics right here in succession.
Dead eyes opened, and Mahan
Shout out if you're gay or lesbian in the stud in 2015.
Let's play, let's play, let's play, let's play, let's play like we were brothers. Let's play like brothers do. Let's play like we were brothers. Let's play like brothers do. I made a promise. You made one too. You made one too. I said I love you. Do you love me too? Do you love me too? Like brothers do. Like brothers do. Me and Gabi, we are brothers. Brothers from a different father. Me and Robert, we are brothers. Brothers from a different mother. Together we can play. Together we can play. Like brothers do. Like brothers do. Let's play, let's play. Let's play like brothers do. Let's play, let's play. Let's play like brothers do. Let's play. We are brothers, brothers from a different father. Me and Robert, we are brothers, brothers from a different mother.
welcome to Nihar.
Hey,
Check.
what's up?
You want to switch sides? There we go. How are you doing, Nihar?
I'm good. I just got here to already. I've never been here before. So
Really?
Obviously,
Wow. Lot debut, everybody. So what have you been up to, Nihar?
What have I been up to? Mostly walking around, trying to get healthier.
Yeah.
It's been my focus recently. Mostly through just taking a lot of walks through cities. I have to travel a lot for work, so
Yeah.
exploring cities.
So you've traveled a lot
That's
this
been
year.
a Yeah, over the last 6 months or so, I've been going to went to London for the first time, and then went to LA a couple weeks ago, and here in New York this week.
Yeah.
Just sort of but trying to use that to sort of just soak up as many city blocks as I can.
Mm-hmm.
That's been
Oh, I feel that. It's something that I definitely loved about living in the Bay Area, but then also love about just being in different places in the world. And it can be kind of scary to be just out really by yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is this kind of excitement in there. There are some times when I've been in a foreign country and I'm the only person on the street, and it's it's like this if you think about it too much, then you will be afraid. But then when you don't, there's this kind of magic within that isolation in a certain way.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm oblivious. It's very common that I'm oblivious to concerns that I probably should have. But
Yeah,
I'm
you kind of have to put
Yeah.
it somewhere else.
yeah, exactly. I'm I'll square up if I need to. Just kidding. I would definitely get my ass beat. If anything happened. But no, I think just wandering aimlessly has been really, really good. And also probably one of the best ways to listen to music. So something about the back.
Do you have some good headphones that you like regularly?
It's not very exciting, but I use the Bose PC45s, sort of very standard, but they sound good to me.
Yeah.
And they don't do kind of weird stuff like Apple AirPods do. So just walk around with those Bluetooth over ear.
What do you like to listen to when you're walking around? Is there a particular kind of zone or vibe or genre?
I like to curate my my vibe. It's when I was walking in London, even though I wasn't in Sheffield, I was listening to Cabaret Voltaire Red Mecca. Just because
I just got
I
that
was,
actually
enough.
when I was on this family trip to South Africa in November, and I just got that record at a store that unfortunately just closed, but it was my first Cabaret Voltaire record actually
nice.
that I got. Yeah.
Incredible record.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Yeah. No, I was kind of okay, close enough. Whatever. Close enough.
Yeah, for sure.
For
sure.
yeah.
It's like going to Philadelphia and being I'm experiencing the Rust Belt.
Exactly. No, and yeah, I don't know. It's probably you gotta DJ your walk. That's a nice thing to be able to do. Just not even make a playlist, but just sort of what do I want to set this to or whatever. And that's sort of it's a sublime experience to just listen to different stuff. But there's also kind of as in the last year I've done more here's a track I heard and I'm gonna obsess over it. I'm just gonna listen to that track over and over and over again, and literally just gonna over and over just listen.
Just kind of peel it apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Each time you listen, do you kind of choose a different thing to focus on, or is it this more embodied kind of a thing? Does it have a physical reaction, or is it more of a mental kind of a thing?
It's definitely physical, and I think sometimes I'm analyzing it definitely as somebody who produces music, you can't help it to an extent.
Yeah.
To just kind of hear what, but usually that's within the first couple of passes, and then if it's really under my skin, I'm just feeling that,
How quickly does that happen for you? Does there have to be like, is it something that develops over time with repeated listens, or is it like from the first 2 seconds, like, you just kind of go into that place?
Usually like the first 2 seconds. Like it's usually like or no, the first 2 seconds. The first time I hear it, if something like gets me, then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm listening to this track for like a month. I don't like.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, which is kind of ironic
I
for
have a
DJ.
similar kind of. I have
Yeah.
kind of both, obviously
Yeah.
because of the vocation of being an audio engineer. So there's this like, oh, the hi hat was too high, and this one, or interesting stereo spread or something like that. But the thing that keeps me coming back to music is that like initial reaction and how quickly like I guess for lack of a better term, like internal download kind of happens. It like taps into this very familiar space, and I know exactly what to do, which is just like move my body. And if I'm walking around the city and stuff, like I kind of limit myself a little bit, but there is this like pressure that I feel inside just to like move. Spectre has been doing that for me this whole week, actually.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, one of the tracks that I started to obsess over this year was Avuka, which is like one of Alexia Perala's like pseudonyms, like for many years. And this is like a early 90s track from Reflex called Afternoon Girl. And it's a slow track, but it's just like haunting. It is haunting. And like, I had heard it before, like it's on the Braindance compilation, and I like when I first I had heard it, but for some reason like I think it's because I had a mix that was like at that speed. And I was like listening, and I put it in, and then it like hit me. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. This is special. This is like, and so then I just kind of like, it was like, okay, this is. I need to saturate myself in this, you know, which is kind of like, it's funny. I feel like there was an era in my life where I was like listening broadly, listen to a lot of things, listen as much as possible. Like the older I got, like the more it's like go deep on a few things.
Yeah.
Even if it's one song, like I want to just hear that song like a lot, like really.
So tying that kind of to our like shared history, the first hour I did kind of like some tracks that I remember at least playing when we had our party together, Intersection. And even though like I'm a significantly better DJ than I was back then, thank you. I somehow got better somewhere, some way. But I tried to like encapsulate some of that like quickness, but the thing that it kind of lacked in a sense until maybe the very tail end of the hour is we used to jump vibes a lot. And from my perspective, that was a result of like our circumstances. It was like a direct reaction to the social environment that we're in. Last call is 2, really that means it's like 1:30 a.m. and then people really just get to the party at like midnight, so there is this kind of pressure to jam in different things. Does that fit? Does that situate from where you sat with the party? Oh,
for sure. Yeah, no, there are a lot of things that the format of like, I don't know, the very compressed time period of peak, not even peak time, just time.
Yeah. It's like time when people are in the room.
Time when it's a party, Yeah. Like it does sort of like make you want to jam in a lot, like everything at once, and kind of like the interstitial things that you might do to go from one place to another, like sometimes get skipped, and then it's like, okay, I'm just going to like line up all the beats I want to hit, like in a very compressed time. So I think that lines up for me. There's another dynamic though, which is just the like, I feel like having been through the musical movements and like period that you and I came sort of age in the music, there was a real strong like desire to like, genre is a tool, is like you want to use all the tools in the tool.
It's the medium itself to some extent.
Exactly, yeah. Like you don't really like the vibe can switch up, but it's like, yeah, like you're really like expressing you, and you don't really. And I always like feel like I don't feel the need to limit myself in genre in any way. I think you feel the same way.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. It's only it's convenience. Like that's the only reason why you use that word or even touch on terms like house or techno or wave or EBM or all these other kinds of signifiers, to me, they're only useful within a realm of commodity exchange. Because even if you tell somebody, like, oh yeah, I went to this party and they were playing house music, that kind of doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything about, like, the vibe of the party, like how big the dance floor was, how decent the sound system was, how the person was mixing, like all of these environmental conditions that really shape how that situation really feels. And you could enter that situation and be like, oh, this isn't house music, you know, because they might be playing at a BPM that you you don't internalize or associate with that kind of genre. So for me, I'm only really utilizing those terms when it's like, yeah, this record, I found it in this section in the record store or whatever, especially with people that I don't really know that well. But the deeper that I get in the music and the more that I listen to it, the more that I internalize it, that stuff becomes entirely useless, you know, especially when you start to learn about the time periods and the people who are involved and like how people have played this music over time, right? Because at this point, you know, if we have a particular date ascribed to the beginning of something like house music, you know, let's say 1983, it's like 40 years on. And so there might be things from even before that era that you are the umpteenth person to come across that thing. And even though you might put your own imprint or tag onto it, it carries all this other history with it as well.
Absolutely.
How are you getting your music these days?
These days? Good question. I would say Bandcamp crawling has sort of overtaken Discogs crawling a little bit. Like I definitely try to like weave my own thread and it's not even conscious. It's sort of like the way that like Discogs was my most important tool in building up my record collection, like having come to it like a little bit later in life, to come to DJing a little bit later in life in my early 30s. I'm in my mid 40s now. But like Discogs was sort of this emergent tool that I always would do something like I would find a record I liked or a record I had and like who's selling it, and then what are other records that seller has in the same year. Because
you couldn't really back then you couldn't really rely on the recommendeds because you would get you know, Andres New to You, The Patternist, like it would always be like the same recommendeds under every single record.
Every single time. No, it would always be. So I would always be like, okay, let's look at other records in that year. Let's just follow the thread and see where it goes, and then find stuff with a cool cover or like a, you know, whatever it is, and like look at the person on the back maybe, or maybe just like listen if there's like a link. And like go for it, you know, like that has always been and continues to be one of my primary ways to discover. Like just like it's like kind of like winding like a snake through like the catalog. And then I would say that like Bandcamp is very similar for me to an extent, like these days, where it's like who bought this thing I like, and like just start anywhere. Who bought this thing?
So it's mediated by other people's collections.
Exactly. It's like cutting across tastes and like it's just like, and then you're sort of, it is an algorithm, you know, but it's your algorithm, you know, you can take whatever turns you want, you know, but it's like, that's like step by step kind of going through that. Very rare that any kind of recommendation is listened to by me. Like I think that's common. Like maybe I'm too stuck up. I'm nothing against it. Nothing.
Yeah, I take like direct recommendations from folks, but I mean that's typically
direct.
I mean it's for sure. Oh, totally. I fully I'm kind of two minds of it because there are absolutely times when the you know, back in the day, like the Pandora algorithm got me hip to some like really dope stuff that I otherwise wouldn't have heard, or like Spotify's
I remember you sitting me down at a coffee shop and being like, you should check out the music they have on Spotify.
Like the licensing is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
Like, I had never even considered using it, and you were like, I'm actually discovering a bunch of music on Spotify. This was a long time ago. It was new, you know? And I remember that conversation being like, okay, I'll check it out. And then I was like, oh, shit, I can go through like all this Hague back catalog and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's
You know?
it's a matter of like who owns the rights to that kind of music. Like I think
Yeah.
probably specifically because I've said it multiple times over the years, but probably specifically I was talking about their jazz licensing because there were all kinds of things that I was discovering that that would have cost me hundreds of dollars
Yeah.
and like many hours to find that are like quintessential records for me, like the main one being Joe Henderson and Alice Coltrane, The Elements.
Yeah.
That was a really big one for me, and it was you couldn't really buy it anywhere for some time. And then where did I find it of all places but Amazon? And this is aside from the streamers of the devil, and they barely pay anything and have contributed to music actually like not like music having no material value anymore. That's a separate conversation. But I would be lying if I didn't. If my musical experience wasn't in some kind of way, governed is a strong word, but at least like guided by not even the algorithm in that sense, but the level of access.
The
And by
immediacy,
extension,
right?
like, you
Yeah.
talked about Discogs, like Discogs is nothing without YouTube.
Yeah.
And the kind of gray
Yeah.
area that DMCA kind of has,
Sure.
and so many of these people who rip these records, who place them on YouTube, like they're not connected to the rights holder, or the rights holder is dead, or the label doesn't exist anymore and dissolved. Nobody knows where the master tapes are. They exist in this very like limbo kind of a zone, but then there is this whole aftermarket thing that ends up happening that, injects a new, it kind of resuscitates it briefly in a sense.
Absolutely. No, there's another thing that happens. So, like, I don't know if you've read a book about music in the last few years. Like, I've been reading a bunch of books about musical history, and generally people make really detailed playlists that are based on like books on music. Like that book, this book Monolithic Undertow about the history of drone. Incredible book. Incredible book. It's like goes from like ritual drone to like all the way to like metal and like surgeon, and I don't know, it's just like very broad in its scope. But there's just like all these massive playlists on Spotify, YouTube, like where you can just like listen to all the tracks that they talk about, all the songs, all the pieces.
Yeah.
Like, and just go through it historically and like deep dive into a genre in like 2 seconds. When I was younger, like I was super into free jazz and did not have the finances or anything to so I would have like a stack of like 5 like impulse reissue CDs to listen to, and a couple records I'd be like, and then you would just deep dive on those, which is kind of my style anyway. But
Yeah.
to be able to like actually
You kind of
get
come
the
back
breadth-
to I'm just going to focus on the things that I really like.
yeah,
And it's great that all this other stuff exists, but like
Exactly.
these are the things.
yeah.
like-
At some point, you do got to come back to that, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because the trouble that I have, especially with records, end up being this physical representation of this. But whenever I introduce something new, it changes the sum total. Like it does have this effect on how I hear everything else that's in the collection. Sometimes that shift is very, very minute. Whether it's like, oh, I didn't hear like the breath on this, I didn't hear like them spit on the reed on their saxophone in this part or something like that. It can be that like minuscule, or it could be that it just, oh, I hate this record now. Like I can't hear it in this different way because this other thing changed it so much. And so I am a bit protective about new input, which can be a bit, difficult when you have so many contemporaries who make so much incredible music. It just takes a bit longer for them to, for me to get it and internalize it, because I want to hold space for it. Like you just had a record come out, Squirrels on Film, a San Francisco-based label, Claws and Solar, and it took, like, you sent it to me 6 or 7 months ago, but I only listened to it this week because I was like, I need to, obviously in preparation for the show, but then I was also like, I need to carve out the space to internalize this because I respect my friend. Did that with the Board Lord record on T for T Love Energy, Name It, which came out, pretty close to when my record came out. And it's like with people that I love and that I care about, I'm not gonna like BS you and be like, oh yeah, great record.
Exactly.
That's like not a helpful enterprise. It's like you shared this thing with me and I respect you, so I need to hold the space that it kind of demands in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I have the same. It's the same struggle, but it's also like you want to make intentional listening time for especially the people you know's work, and sometimes, like that means that like you can't like respond right away about it the way that like many other people probably are doing who like have a different relationship with it. But actually, sometimes when things are like particularly important, like I
Yeah.
have a long like relationship with somebody, and then this is their work, like. It's so important to me that like sometimes I need to put it off until I have the mental space to deal with it. You know, that's
Especially when you follow these threads that you're talking about, when
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm going to hyper focus on drone music,
Yeah.
and then something else and your friend comes up and is like, yo, here's this like drum and bass record that I made, like, can you check it out or whatever, or here's a promo, or here's the record or whatever. You know, the polite thing is to say like, yeah, sure, it's great, blah blah, you know, and then just file it away somewhere and kind of forget about it. But like, you have to really shift your routine in a sense in order to like accommodate this this new level of input in some
Exactly.
ways.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally.
So how are you feeling? Would you like to play some music? Would you like to talk a bit more?
Sure. Do you want to talk about the African Dream or?
Yes. Okay. So, this record, this is Lee Rodriguez as the African Dream, aka Mr. Onester. You know, I've played this record and some of his other ones pretty frequently on this show, and at least amongst my cohort of artists and DJs here in New York, there are several tracks that that folks really beat. You know, All in the Same Family, the A1 on here, You're in My Soul. I mean, the whole thing is just really incredible, Young and Free. You know, but this record, Nihar actually introduced me to before we even had a party together. It was a record that they regularly played, and it's one that I would keep on forgetting about, but I just kind of stuck with me. And it wasn't until I went to Human Head and they had an OG copy of it for sale that I was like, oh yeah, I know that record. I know that it's really good because I remember the cover specifically. And then I took it home and really like dove into it. And you know, this is just like one of the best and most incredible deep house records like ever. So do you want to talk about it a little bit? How did you first come to this record?
This is funny. Actually, it's a funny story. I won't put the person on blast, but I heard it. A DJ played it at a party, like, and I was like, "That record is so sick." This DJ was a hustler. It was like, "I'm coming by your house. I'm selling you this record." Like, it's kind of rare. So, like, dig out your wallet. I'm going to sell you this record. And it was kind of harder to buy back then. So it was
Yeah.
so like the next day, like I had the record in my house, and I was like, and I bought it from that DJ, and they were like, I need the money more than I need the record, but it was like, I mean, everybody got to make a living, right?
Yeah.
That's the lyric.
The D2.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't have to go there yet. I mean, I think that this record from '94 is just seminal. Yeah, All in the Same Family. I feel like that's like, I mean, the fusion of hip hop and house music that was very common in New York at the time that's one of the best examples of it. And it has the title is from this Malcolm X sample that they play toward the end of the track, and it's like, I mean, that's from Message to the Grassroots, the 1963 speech.
The Detroit 1963 speech.
Exactly.
Yeah, in which he talks about the like Pan African People's Conference and what you know all the stuff about revolution. Like, it's an
Exactly.
incredible
That's
speech. Like, it's a
so
very
good.
I track it down.
Yeah, no, it's like really important to listen to that speech. It's so important, and it's like part of the Malcolm X's political turn. Interesting thing about Malcolm X speeches, like I know so many of them not by heart, but like they're so recognizable to me because in the '90s, like we didn't have YouTube that had all the speeches, right? But it was very common. I lived in DC in the '90s, which is like extremely black city in the '90s, in particular. Less so now, but like
Chocolate
always.
City.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you could generally like track down a copy of Malcolm X, like a cassette tape of Malcolm X speeches, like on like many city blocks. Like there would just be somebody selling like Malcolm X speeches like on a cassette tape. So I bought one like when I was like 18 years old, and I listened to those speeches like over and over again. Anyway, so this track sampling that speech was really important. Yeah, and then I mean, there's a lot of other stuff here. Like Young and Free kind of has like it submerges like
Yeah.
it submerges a funk song in a house track. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like it's underwater, but it's like it's there. It's like very psychedelic
Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah.
You know,
It's one that I have like I mean most of the tracks on here I have like that visceral body experience that
Yeah.
that we were talking about like All in the Same Family jerks every single joint in my body like I just like like Mike Servito played that closing this Miss Softy's party at Hollow a couple of years ago and he played it and I just like lost complete
Oh my
control
God.
just just sprinting around the room basically
Yeah.
and Young and Free is it just hits this emotional core that if I'm vulnerable enough, if I'm like in enough of a present kind of a space, I just cry. I just like weep because
Yeah.
of just how emotive the just the whole tenor of the thing is.
Yeah.
And then Make a Living is just like Making a Living. It's the working people's track. You know, it's one that for me as well runs counter to this these ideas around like escapism and dissociation that are inherent within nightlife culture. Like it's directly acknowledging like the fact that there is this outside world and we're just trying to even the DJ or the producer or the person who cut the record or the person dancing like we're all just trying to make something out of whatever this is.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, Making a Living, it's like a perfect deep house track. I can't remember how many times I played it. I think it's.
I mean, for the longest, like I associate you with playing it at +8. Like I didn't ever hear it at 0.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like it was always
Yeah.
like all the way sped up.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful at its normal speed. I mean, it has that 20th Century Steel Band sample in it, which people mostly know from Jenny from the Block, which is like I love Jenny from the Block, but I have to say something about the way they sampled it in Jenny from the Block, which is that they forget they don't do the pause on a measure before the final part, so it's like, you know. Like they do the whole everybody got to make it. Like immediately everybody got to make a living. And it's just it really like once you hear it, you can't unhear it. It's like messed up that they did that. I don't know what corporate executive was like, the track needs like one less measure. We need like a couple more seconds so we can fit some other stuff on this CD or whatever.
And they just shunt it right in there.
Yeah. I'm like,
For
what
no reason.
the hell? Just leave the measure.
Yeah.
Leave the measure break. It's so much sicker with the measure break. Anyway, it's crazy. But I mean, I love Jenny from the Block. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, no, it's like perfect. What about African Dreams? What do you think about that track?
African. So the more for lack of a better word, because this is kind of the time when this style is coming to the fore, kind of out of deep house, tribal. Like those tracks I haven't really beat because I don't know, there is this essentialized kind of vibe. You know, we play to a lot of white people, right? So like there's this essentialized kind of vibe that I try to steer away from in certain scenarios, especially with around like things with a lot of percussion. And also just like functionally, like there isn't a lot of stuff that I play that would set them up appropriately, unless I mean I could maybe like throw it like pitched up in like a hard techno kind of a thing that could probably work, you know. I love Black Thoughts because anything with an upright bass in it, like I just love it, you know. But also they're tracks that like all the other ones that we mentioned, they fit with literally anything.
Yeah.
Like whenever, like it doesn't matter what you play before. You could play dubstep before.
Totally.
It doesn't matter. Like it just works.
African Dreams is very specific. No, I hear
Yeah.
you. There's not a lot of space in it, but and I think what you said is so well considered about the essentialized nature of. I mean, just like it's the context. It like doesn't fit the context.
Yeah,
of
I
what
mean,
it's
this is something that I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
from playing in the Netherlands a bunch.
yeah.
You know, I would see DJs play stuff that had like a vocal sample of somebody singing in Swahili or like another African language, and immediately all the hands are in the air. Nobody knows a single word of what this person is actually saying, and it's because they're having this strong reaction because of its alienness, its foreignness.
Yeah.
There isn't a consideration of like the fact that this is a real person who is singing this, who has their own internal life. It's not like it's one of those things that once you see, you just really can't unsee. You know, I also talked about sometimes this anecdote of Kendrick Lamar being on tour, and he brings a white lady out of the audience to like sing a song with him, and she knows all the words, but she says all the N words, and he stops her multiple times, and she's like, "I'm just trying to sing it like you sing it, bro."
Yeah.
You know, so there is this like, it's still terrible what she did, but at the same time, there is this like permissiveness that you can give as a performer, especially if you're black, you're brown, you're marginalized in any kind of a way. Like some folks are just looking for permission to replicate state violence in a way that is seemingly polite, but is just like as dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's on us to some extent, and of course we, you know, there's a considerable amount of levity, and I don't police people about this kind of a thing, but I think that it should, as an art worker, like it should be consideration.
Yeah. I actually like, I very consciously started moving. I mean, I sometimes do it, but I don't use as much. I had an era where I was like, I'm going to use a lot of like South Asian like instrumentation and samples in my work, and then I was like, for the exact same reasons, but maybe not as consciously. Like maybe not as much, like having not acknowledged it fully. Like that's why I moved away from it. Like it's the essentialization, the lack of context. You know, being in the U.S., like playing for mostly white audiences.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's like you start to contribute to your own marginalization
Yeah.
in a sense. And I just, as much as I have control over that, I would prefer to not do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Should we talk about the cover art and then
Yes, let's do
play
that.
a little bit more music?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get
Yeah.
back into music. Yeah, what do you think?
So both of art, like I tried to find the artist on here, but the lettering isn't very legible. But the theory that we both have is that this collage is kind of a memorial to the MOVE bombing.
Yeah.
To some extent, especially given the themes, the kind of Pan-African themes that are throughout this record. It's not too far of a reach to feel as though this is like a direct reaction to kind of memorializing the people who were murdered by Philadelphia police for being black radicals in the 1980s.
I mean, the city block looks like that city block.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and the like colors and everything, kind of like there's this person wincing from like what it looks like something, and then there's
Is it the sun or is it an explosion? Like it looks
Exactly.
like flames or a horizon or
Yeah, exactly. Like whether or not it's literally the mood bombing, it definitely like evokes that feeling, and that like that I like just like the war for the African dream, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know,
or the mourning of it
yeah,
to an extent as well.
exactly, totally.
I'm going to play
on.
Making a Living, and then Nihar is going to take us out for the last 30 minutes. This is Deep Exposure with Russell E.L. Butler and Nihar.
But I'm gonna take it a little far tonight. Crawl a little far this shore. Go a little farther. A little farther. Bottom of the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. Don't know if I'll make it back home. Back home. Don't you need a good man? I'm gonna stay tonight. I don't wanna take it tonight. Crawl this shore. I don't wanna take it far tonight. Crawl far this shore. At the bottom of the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. I'm gonna stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream. Don't know if I'll make it back home. Back home. Back home. I'm gonna take
my name, I'll be there in a hurry. On that you can depend and never worry. You see, my love is alive. It's like a seed. If you need me, call me.
I just want to say thank you so much to Nihar for being here, for doing that little 30 minutes of music, and for sharing some very kind words. This was Deep Exposure with Russell E.L. Butler and Nihar. Thanks for tuning in. Any last words, Nihar? Anything you want to promote?
No.
Check out that record on Squirrels on Film. Nihar. Put in Nihar on Bandcamp, okay? Peace, y'all.